Hello ladies and gents, welcome to FACEIT TV. I'm DDK and joined with me today is Vendetta, and you are going to be watching a lot of awesome Counter-Strike matches here for the European FACEIT League, and I'm quite excited. How are you feeling today, Mr. Halvor?
Pretty good, can't complain. Lots of nice games coming up for us. We had quite a few awesome games yesterday, albeit weird, but
weird games.
That made them just that tad more special. So looking forward to today as well.
Always good and entertaining games here for the FACEIT League. First thing, let's check out the schedule then, see what we have in store, see how we can plan our evenings, because there are many matches here to be concerning ourselves with. Of course, G2, first up against Titan. Yesterday we kicked it off with the Titan match as well. Yeah. Titan defeated Fnatic. It made us all the unicorns, so that was nice. But they'll be up against G2 and then be Dust2, so that's going to be, I think, a really fun match to kick things off with. We've got Envious, we've got Fnatic, we've got TSM VP. Look, I mean, they're all going to be great matches. There's nothing. Does anything that really stands out here for you?
The big game for me tonight is going to be TSM versus VP on Overpass.
Yeah,
that's going to be the battle of the giants, really. TSM, hottest team in CS right now. VP, they've just been steadily playing really well. Obviously a bit up and down online, but every time they near a LAN event, they just hit that high gear and start wrecking people. So that's going to be fun. And just judging from history, normally VP versus TSM on Overpass especially are really tense games, so that should be really fun. Yeah, I feel like they're the two best Overpass teams most of the time. It's cool to see that. So this is how the rankings are going right now and what the matches mean. First thing you'll notice, most likely, as you look to the lower end of the table, is that Virtus.pro haven't really played any matches compared to anybody else. And this is going to be like a Virtus.pro Super Week, so if you're a fan of them, you're going to get to see, like, it's like almost, you're watching Netflix, there's a new season of House of Cards, you can just binge watch that. Yeah, that's how it's going to feel with Virtus.pro.
So, man.
10 or 9 of the last
10 or
12 games
they have to play at once. Pretty interesting stuff. So as far as all the other results go, of course TSM, they are qualified. Envious are qualified. Fnatic, NIP, G2, HellRaisers, everything's rather up in the air for these guys. They're still all doable for them, and Virtus.pro as well. Yeah,
actually everyone who's in the league till this point can still qualify. If Titan go on a perfect streak for the remainder of their games, they can still qualify. So everyone has everything to play for, basically, at this point. So that's really cool to see. Obviously Virtus.pro being in a really good spot. Only played 3 games, already have 6 points. So they're looking in they look to be in a pretty good fashion. But then again, they could have a really bad day come next week and then just drop all of their games. Absolutely. It's one of those things, isn't it, with Titan? I mean, we are still waiting for that consistency. We're still waiting for them to kind of show, okay, we're on top of this. We're on top of this. We found that groove. Yeah. Because right now that's not happened. But I'm optimistic. I'm always optimistic when it comes to Titan. I'm just hoping that they can. I'd rather see them not qualify for an event or lose a couple of games online and then do well at the major, than do amazingly well up until the major, get everyone's hopes up, and then go out in group stages. Because I feel like that's the Titan way up to this point. Invariably, it always ends up like that, and they break hearts. All the hearts get broken, so that sucks. But anyway, as far as things go for Titan, I mean, they are playing only 1 match today. Yesterday it's cool because we could pick some Titan players. Today, let's see how things are going for our alpha draft, because we got a couple of games out of Fnatic. We have 1 NIP game, 1 VP game. So I think we're thinking about Fnatic right now. We're thinking about, who else is playing twice? G2. Yeah. G2, they're going to be playing against Titan and then against NIP on Cash. So I really don't know how to. Okay, Halvor, I'm going to give this one to you. Again. Yeah. Today as well. Yeah. Okay, I think the team we want really is Fnatic. Sure, they didn't go too well for Fnatic yesterday. Didn't have the best showing, but I think out of the 2 teams, if we have to choose between G2 and NIP, we're going to have to go with NIP. Are you sure? NIP. They're playing Train against Envious. Yeah. Cobalt against HellRaisers. HellRaisers, that's one of their best maps. True. They've shown at the moment. True. I don't know. Crossing my fingers that Fnatic picked up something they did wrong on Train yesterday versus not so easy, Titan. Right? There's no clear answer. So if it is up to me, I'm going with Fnatic. It feels like the safest choice. It is up to you. So you're just spending it all on me regardless of what happens, aren't you? Oh, yeah. As for players, Olafmeister didn't have the greatest game yesterday. Actually, nobody from Fnatic had a really standout game yesterday. So even though TSM only have 1 game, I feel like we could be okay with going with Device or Dupree. I think that Device is probably the safer choice there. So I like Device in my team. Other than that, I think we're actually going to go further down the list and look at G2 players because they're playing 2 games. I would like Rain in there. You know, bit of homerism, being from the same country and all. And, well, I could see Reese really wants Jakim. So, yeah, for Reese, this is Reese's pick. He's going to pick Jakim for us. There we go. I'm actually going to give the next pick to you.
Oh.
Yeah, putting you on the spot here. I see one player that you probably would like to pick up because we couldn't afford him yesterday. It's a Swede.
Should we go there? Should we go there? Should we?
Are we
going G2 today? Is that what's happening? All right.
I kind of like the fact that we went for like Fnatic as the team of the day, but we're just picking G2 players.
Yeah.
Nothing has to make sense, really. Nothing has to make sense. It's all fine. Right. But wow, how is Simple that cheap? And Oscar as well. Oscar was just an absolute beast yesterday.
Budget Simple. Oscar, yeah, man, this guy. I think I'm not sure. Did we pick him? I think we did actually.
We picked Oscar, yeah.
Yeah, he went full beast mode.
Exactly.
HellRaisers are playing against Fnatic on Cobble. That's their only match. I would expect them to have a pretty decent showing against Fnatic on Cobble, to be honest.
Actually, if we pick Oscar, we can get Olafmeister as well and nearly use all of our budget.
All right.
Just look at that. $100 to spare.
All right, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can live with this. I think that's fine.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
3 G2 players. G2 better do well, man. It's funny though because like in theory,
over here,
if you're gambling with 3 G2 players, it feels like you should kind of be picking like G2 as the team. But hey, it's Halvor's logic.
The no logic applies when it comes to fantasy, right?
Yeah.
It's fantasy after all.
All right. Well, time to go to the Unicorn and see if we have a nice question here today. Usually James doesn't know any of the answers for these, which is always fun. Okay, what have we got? Oh, I know this one as well.
Yeah, exactly. Look at you.
It's too easy.
Dota 2 aficionado.
Yeah, obviously, well, do you want me to answer? Because I know that you know, obviously, well, and I know Reese. Everybody knows this one. It's easy. It's obviously Rubik.
There we go.
I mean,
it would have been brilliant if you actually went like, it's super easy. It's Trian.
It's yes. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That would be embarrassing. I've done that before as well, and I feel really bad. Like with the Tassador one. With like
I heard James. Yeah, he more or less
me.
Forced you to go for the wrong answer.
Yeah.
And you could even like give a detailed description of what happens at the end of the game as well. Still, you wouldn't trust your instinct.
Yeah. I'm sad.
All right, so match of the day. Last time we were actually correct. We didn't get to see, obviously, Cloud9 versus Team Liquid, which was the NA version. We did, but we nailed the Titan Fnatic one. I feel like we should go for a similar one, like in terms of best odds, where we can potentially win the most. Okay, this is pretty ridiculous to me. Gamers 2 have 0%.
What?
0% versus Titan on Dust 2.
Really?
And they have the best.
No.
Yeah, and obviously, yeah, it's based on what players have or users have selected. But I feel like that's pretty staggering odds as well. 260 odds. God.
Because I mean, thinking looking at all these games, I feel like the only clear potential upsets are going to be maybe the G2 NIP and the Fnatic HellRaisers. Or Fnatic HellRaisers, like HellRaisers more so against Fnatic than any other one. But I don't know. I mean, so what do you think there? Fnatic HellRaisers, I think HellRaisers can absolutely win against Fnatic on that map. They've shown great things on Cobble recently.
Okay, yeah.
Oscar, Stiko, Simple. That trio seems to be is very good.
How's the odds looking on that match? Let's see what Reese can find. There we go. 4 odd. Yeah, okay.
Whoa.
So that's pretty juicy as well.
I think you gotta go for that.
You want to go for that one?
Yeah. We can bet on multiples. So let's get that.
Yeah, but I mean, we raked up so much cash yesterday.
Yeah.
That surely we can bet on 2 games. So do you want to do HellRaisers, Fnatic, and G2 Titan?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good.
All right.
Titan.
So how much are we going to actually dig into this?
I feel like we should really commit with the G2 thing, shouldn't we? I never really feel safe betting on G2 because you never really know. But
should we do moderate bets? Like 18 and 20 for both? Should we round it out around 100?
Yep. And I feel like the HellRaisers Fnatic one, I feel like that is a must go. You got to go in with that one. That is such a nice value bet right there.
Exactly. So yeah, we could potentially win 72 here. Not too shabby. And I'm assuming, yeah, obviously it's going to be a bit lower for Gamers 2 versus Titan, but well, still think it's worth it.
It's quite interesting how the matches are going tonight because we've got G2 Titan on Dust 2. Nice warm-up match.
Yeah.
Top we get to see a bit more of Titan, which is very cool because it feels like every Titan match, I'm very, very focused on, okay, what, how are they playing? How, who's going where? How are they adjusting things? How's it looking? Really, really paying a lot of attention. Same with G2 and how they've G2 feel like a better team overall from when they've stuck Jacob in there now. It feels like they got more of a balance of roles. So that's gonna be cool to see as a warm-up match. Then we're into NV Fnatic on Train, which is just gonna be a slobber knocker.
Yeah.
And then going into like TSM, Virtus.pro for like a sobering, like two teams playing like a super correct overpass. And then it feels like we've got a nice little flow going with the matches here today.
Got a nice mix of things here. So yeah, I think that's a fair bet. 20 on Gamers 2.
Boom.
There we go. We're committed now. So I think that works out nicely for us. I have good hopes. I think this could be a profitable day overall.
I guess it remains to be seen. So it's time to talk about our first game in more detail. Gamers 2 versus Titan, and that's going to be great because again, I went into a little bit of detail there with Titan. Gamers 2, talk to me about Gamers 2. Talk to me about Gamers 2 against Titan and Dust 2 as well.
I think the biggest thing is that it's going to be on Dust 2. And if you think about Gamers 2 as a lineup, you see just a bunch of individual skill members. We've talked about, and every time you bring up Gamers 2, it's the same point that's being brought up as their weakness. How do they actually function as a team? How properly can they function as a team? And how heavily do they rely on individual skill to actually make things happen for them? Well, on a map like Dust 2, a lot of those things are kind of negated. You're allowed to, you have the potential of getting a lot done with just the individual skill. And we saw that for NIP yesterday versus Envy. They didn't necessarily have the most structured strats that they executed really on their T side. They more or less just kind of brute force their way up on catwalk each and every round and picked up rounds that way. And that works. And G2 can do the same thing because they have so many excellent players that can do that. So it's going to be really fun for me to see how Titan are able to slow them down if they're going to force G2 to play an execute style game, really, on Dust 2. I think that still should be possible for G2 to make a lot of stuff happen with it because it's not the most technical setups you have to do. It's not the hardest smokes or anything like that. That's pretty much cookie cutter kind of things that everybody knows at this level. But I think Gamers 2 have a decent chance actually of winning versus Titan here on a map like Dust 2. But that said, I think also Titan are one of the most exciting teams to watch on Dust 2.
Why would you say that exactly? What are the reasons? Give me some highlights there.
A lot of different reasons. It's more like it comes down to a lot of their versatility on that map. The fact that ever since just playing versus these French guys in CSS, you know that they have so many potential recipes for success on a map like Dust 2. And with the opening of new skyboxes, all that type of stuff, you know that just Existence just frothing from his mouth in excitement. Because he knows that he can throw new stuff from new places, all that stuff. Set up new executes and new fakes, potentially, that's going to be so much stronger on that T side. And for their CT side, with the current mix of players they have now, they have the opportunity to mix things up. If a setup isn't working properly and they're getting hammered down on catwalk or long or anything like that, they can easily rotate things around and still be successful in a big way. So it's more the possibility to adapt really for a Titan that really makes them exciting to watch on a map like this too, because you have to be flexible to be successful on it. So
to the viewers, these lovely people at home watching, who are the players from Titan? Who are they looking out for? Who is a guy to really not necessarily be a fan of, but who is important for this for Titan?
Well, should be a fan of everyone. Really.
Yeah, that's
all
I
excellent players. Thinking in recent form, Existence. Obviously, he's been getting a lot of heat, the last couple of years because people expect so much of him.
So what's changed?
Well, we talked about it, very briefly yesterday. I think it's more of a fact that he's given himself more room to actually do stuff instead of focusing solely on the 4 others and just letting himself basically waste during rounds. He's given himself more responsibility to do stuff in game outside of just telling people what to do at any given time. Which is nice. He's also started picking up the op a lot more, which he was super efficient with in CSS, and we've seen, some hints of past glory as well when he's done that in CS:GO too. So yeah, and all that's going to build up confidence, especially when he has a game like he had versus Fnatic yesterday. That's going to do really well for you. You're going to feel good about yourself. You can tell that what you're doing, the fact that you've given yourself more responsibilities to actually frag in the games as well, works out. So that's really fun to see. Being Dust 2, Shoxy and Scream obviously comes to mind. Shoxy with his aggressive catwalk pushes all day, at any given time, whether or not it's a good decision or not. He can still make that work, and Scream basically... There's so many open spaces, so many long distances that if Scream gets a hold of well, it doesn't really matter what weapon he has, let's be honest, but there's so many opportunities for him to basically just showcase that brilliant aim and just tear people apart.
So Shock, Scream, and Existence.
Yeah.
The 3 picks there.
And you know, you could go on, because if you think about Smith's, what's the map that he previously was kind of Envy's shining light on? You know, what map was that? That was Dust 2. So you know, everyone has the potential to do great things, but the same thing goes for Gamers 2 as well. And it feels kind of redundant to say it when you talk about teams at this level, because it rings true for pretty much everyone on these teams, but that's really the case. So I'm just really looking forward to a slugfest of different dimension. Yeah,
and we are waiting for a couple players to get onto the game, onto the match, onto the server. Just one. Got there in the end. Got there in the end. The rule of 3s. So we talk about 3 players there from the
Titan side.
Guys,
English is hard.
Words are hard. So let's talk about 3 players from the side of
Gamers 2.
G2. I mean, there's a lot of players to choose from. I know that there's 2 Norwegians on that lineup.
Yeah.
Norwegians, so don't want any bias, man.
Oh wow!
Please, no bias. Come on.
This is where I'm throwing away the bias card instantly.
Yes, please.
Well, it's hard as well, because I think you can't mention Gamers 2 without mentioning Rain. I think he's the best player in that team, so you kind of have to go that way, and that's no bias at all. He's just
I can see the Rain thing.
Yeah, he's a super solid overall player, and doesn't really matter what map it is, but Dust 2 is obviously something that is going to work well for him as well, with the solid aim and just good decision making. Now it's going to be like a half and half pick. I'm going to say the Oppers of Gamers 2, which could be Fox on any given day, could be Michaelilla, could even be Dennis to some extent, but Michaelilla, Fox, they have a good opportunity here to showcase their skill with the op. Michaelilla is actually really good at T-side opping on a map like Dust 2, and that could be really important for them. If he's able to get several tags on the guys crossing over to B at the start of every T round, that's massive for them. It softens everyone up on the Titan side. It could force them potentially, if he gets the leg shot down to 19 HP, for instance, that could force them to play differently. So that's going to be interesting to see as well. And well, Dennis is the guy more or less calling the shots in that team, to an extent they have something structured plan. That's also going to be fun to see how he does that on Dust 2, because we know back in LGB, the Swedish version, they were very loose in their play style and relied heavily on their aim and whatnot in team play, and a map like Dust 2 allows for that in a great manner. So I think Dennis is going to do good things as well on this map.
So when it comes to G2, of course G2, there's been a lot of issues for them in the past when it comes to communication, and there's been a lot of players that have changed in the lineup. There's lots of interesting language issues there, generally speaking. But what do you think is the current state of G2 when it comes to where they're at right now, what their potential is really like, and how far do you think they will go to reach that potential? Because I mean, are they kind of a bit doomed in their situation, or what do you think? How far can they go?
I think they're kind of doomed, because, well, if you remember back when Scream was still on the team, initially they were saying, well, there's a tiny bit of communication issues, it's all good, we're gonna work it out. Then Scream gets spot out, goes to Titan, and afterwards he's saying, well, the communication was just a mess. Like everything was just completely chaotic. We have no idea.
You can see that when you watch them.
Yeah, and I don't really see that being too much of a change. Obviously, they've brought in a Norwegian for a French guy, so that's gonna help make it a bit easier. Swedish and Norwegian are Belgian. Sorry. Hey
man, you gotta be careful.
Yeah, that's true.
People can get very touchy about this.
That's just my bad completely. I should have known as well, because Belgium was at the World Championships. So we even saw Scream there. So, but they brought in a Norwegian that's easier to deal with, at least, than the French and Norwegian/Swedish language barrier that they would have had. And but they still have Fox there. Still think that's gonna, and that, you know, that's not to just harp on Fox, but it's obviously gonna be an issue. It's not like just Scream going out is gonna solve all of their communication issues. I still think it would have been much more preferable to have a completely Scandinavian lineup where you can talk a language that everybody understands fully, and you don't have to doubt anything that's being said or being called out.
So do you think this is going to happen at some point, that, you know, maybe like Fox is going to be kind of shifted out of the lineup, and we're going to see 5 Scandinavians eventually?
Yeah, I'm 100% positive that's going to happen.
You think it's going to happen? Okay. Well, okay, who are this? Okay, well. So how do you think the changes are going to look? Because you've got the team right now.
Yeah. I actually think, depending on obviously what kind of player they bring into the team, which is, it could be anyone, really. I'm assuming that Gamers 2 is a pretty attractive team to play for, because they have these really exciting individual players and talents. So no, I think they could do really well. I think at this point their best case scenario is being the team that can destroy a tournament for one of your favorites. So for instance, going into Cluj, they could be in a group where they knock out a team that you'd like to or expect to see through going to the top 8, or they could potentially win one best of 3.
So what's going to happen? Do you think that Fox is going to get taken away, and maybe Twist is going to go in there or something? Because that seems like the most obvious thing that could possibly happen, doesn't it? Like
that's the thing as well, because everybody, whenever you mention, especially a team with Swedes in it, and you talk about the most obvious option for who's coming in, it's always Twist. That's the first thought in everyone's head, and he never actually joins.
It's like with the NIP thing a long time ago. Everyone's like,
Twist is going to join.
It's got to be Twist. It's got to be Twist or Alu. And there's Alu, and then people are thinking, okay.
Well, yeah, because after 5th left NIP, everyone was like, well, easy, Twist is joining. Then you had Michael Ella instead. Well, when he left, it's like, well, now it's time for Twist, or maybe even Dennis, right?
It's time for Twist.
Yeah, but that never came to fruition. I'm not sure if that's going to happen either this time around. Who knows? It could be anyone. I guess it remains to be seen. But I think it's going to be a Scandinavian lineup, and most likely a Norwegian, Swedish lineup eventually come New Year. I feel pretty confident in that, because if they had,
where would Fox go? What about Paul Fox?
Well, people have been talking about the thought of him playing with Luminosity. Obviously, so there's a slight difference between the languages as well. But that's a really cool idea. I really like that idea.
That's really interesting, because also, I mean, well, they already have Fallen, who's a
really good opera, yeah. But the question is who would go out. And I think Fallen is obviously just...
Yeah, he's the center of the team, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And I think
the fire of the team.
Yeah, and I think a guy like Fur is too good to be replaced. I haven't seen any...
Can't get rid of Cold already.
Cold has been really good as well after he came in as well. So